Hey, this is Darren from Property Prosperity. Today I thought I would have a little bit of a chat about why trying to become an expert is not necessarily always the best thing. Particularly, well, they've got a word for it, I suppose, which is called analysis paralysis, where people, they just want to understand everything about everything, which seems like a good idea, and it seems like, particularly with investing in, in property and development and subdivisions and building and all the things involved, you really want to know everything about it so you don't make any mistakes. And I totally understand why that would be a good thing. I suppose the danger with that is just, hey Dave, thanks for joining. The danger with that is just so many things to learn, and there's so many things that you're probably almost never going to learn everything, And the problem with that is that if you're not going to make a decision, or you're not going to act, buy a development site or do a subdivision or do anything until you've got all the information at hand so you totally understand what you're going to do, then you might find you never do it. And the problem with investing and investing in property is if you don't do anything, you're actually costing yourself some money. You're missing out on that potential return or potential development site you could have bought that you could have benefited out of. So that's why I'm saying to people, it's not always a good thing to put everything off and hold off until you understand exactly what you're supposed to do. I suppose I don't know if you've heard about this thing called the Pareto principle, which is basically, or they also call it the 80-20 rule, which basically says that, if you sort of have 80% of the information is pretty much good enough, the other 20% you can probably get by without, really. It applies to a whole pile of different things. There's books written on it and stuff, so you can go off and read about it. But basically, if you know enough, that's probably good enough. Just get out there and start doing it. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. Whereas if you try and hold off until you know everything you possibly can about it, you're never going to know everything. You're never going to go 100% of information. You really minimize your risks as much as you can, trying to keep as informed as you possibly can, but you just got to get out and do it. You've got to do something, because if you don't do anything, the missed opportunity, in the world of economics, they call it the opportunity cost. The risk of not doing anything is probably more than the risk of doing something, I suppose, because what do you risk by doing something? You just actually, hey Lee, thanks for joining. Yeah, if you the risk by doing something is that, you learn stuff, even if you don't, the key is not to, hey Josh, thanks for joining, is to lose out money, but if you just break even, you've still learned some stuff. You can get out there and do it again. The more times you do it, the better you're going to get, and then eventually you'll just improve. Thanks for clicking the like button, and hopefully that's made sense. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, there's just too many things, trying to understand everything. My clients, they come to me and they say, hey, I'm signing up to buy something, I'm signing a contract, how do I know whether it's right or wrong, and all that sort of stuff. At the end of the day, you just find yourself a conveyancer or a solicitor, someone you trust, and at some point in time, you're just going to have to trust that they know what they're doing. If you read through all these legal documents, nowadays they're written in plain English, and so they're relatively easy to understand, but you're still not going to really understand everything. So at some point in time, you're just going to have to trust your advisors and your mentors, and you have to trust that they know what they're talking about. And so to try and understand everything is just impossible, really. And so I remember, I've probably been doing this for about 12 years or so now. I know people now that I met 12 years ago that still haven't done, haven't bought an investment site and haven't done a development, and yet they were in the same spot I was 12 years ago, just starting out, and they were looking around for options. And the reason they didn't do anything was because they were still waiting for that perfect property, and they still had to do the extra course and read another book and do another seminar and all this sort of stuff. And they just can seem to, just get overwhelmed by all the information they needed to collect and all the stuff they wanted to understand before they went out and did something. So my advice is basically just get out and do it. Just, in the words of Nike, just do it. And then, the more times you do it, the better you're going to get at it. And, the key is to minimize your downside so you don't lose money, but then, open yourself up to upside, really, and hope that you're going to make more money than you otherwise would. And if you don't, then, get out and do it again and just learn by trial and error. There's really no other way to learn in the world of property than just to get out there and give it a go. So hopefully that's made sense to everybody. If it's made sense to you, then click on the like button. If it hasn't, then click on the like button anyway, and I'll try a bit harder for next time. And if you know someone that's out there that's been talking about doing something, but they haven't actually done anything, then maybe click on the share button. Hopefully they'll get some benefit out of it too. And if you've got any questions for the future, then click on the comment button box, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have in the future. So Thanks, guys. Nice talking to you, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.